Okay, guys, time for a little different change of direction here. I've been thinking, I really post a lot of stuff about difficulties with the Philippines, surprises, cultural differences, things like that. And part of that is because I have a sense of obligation. I don't want to be responsible for somebody living in the Philippines and getting overwhelmed and feeling a sense of betrayal or anger towards me and others for encouraging him to do something that really didn't work out. The Philippines is far away from the US. It's really difficult physically to get here. It's taxing. It's exhausting to take a flight and come all the way over here. It's so much easier just to drive across the border into Mexico or take a flight from Miami or Houston to Panama or Ecuador or Cartagena, something like that. Latin America is really easy to get to, and Latin America has some of the same benefits the Philippines does. So I really want people to uh, be sure, um, be sure they come here with their eyes open. So that's part of the reason why most of my posts seem to be negative, but there are some real benefits to living in the Philippines. I really love it here. Okay, I wanted to list these out. One is the weather. I'm living right now in Cavite, close to a place called Tagaytay, which is really high in the mountains. Okay, the benefit, obviously, in living in a high place is you don't have to worry about flooding. The water drains out of here immediately. I've never seen big puddles of water. The scary thing is some of the bridges you drive across, you can't see the bottom. It's pretty scary. Um, but it's beautiful. The weather is never 35 or 38 or something like that. That's in centigrade, okay? So that's, like 100 degrees or something in Fahrenheit. The weather's more like 86 Fahrenheit, something like that. Right now at nighttime, it's nighttime now and it's breezy. I'm sitting here on an open door in an upstairs parlor in my house adjacent to a big patio that's out here in the open above my carport, and the breeze is blowing, and I'm a little bit cold. I'm kind of regretting coming out here in shorts. I really wanted to bring, last time I went to Texas, I wanted to bring some sweatpants. I really want to wear sweatpants here at nighttime. It's a little bit cold. So it's maybe 68, 72, somewhere around there, like maybe 22, 21 degrees Celsius, something like that. So that's one benefit. It's nice here. It's comfortable all the time. All the time. It's even a little bit cold when it's rainy or in November, December, January, those months. At nighttime, it gets a little bit cold. Uh, the benefits are the cost. You've got some really excellent health care here, very modern, very well equipped. These people are very comfortable with MRI, CT scan. They gave my wife a C-section, and they were very a little bit upset about the way the C-section had been done on her before in the U.S. And I have total confidence in the medical care here. I'm close to Manila, so everything is first rate here. Um, but the total cost of all the medical benefit of all the birth that we had, the C-section, the 3 days in a private room at the hospital with cable TV and a hot shower and a refrigerator and everything in the room, uh, and the C-section, everything all together, the 3 days, I paid the bill, I put it on the credit card, it was $1,600 total. And change, it wasn't exact. You got to do the exchange rate and so forth. That's another benefit to living here. The exchange rate's just fantastic right now. It's above 50 pesos to the dollar. Gas is a little bit expensive. Gas is about $3.80 a gallon in the U.S. gallon. It's about 52 pesos to the liter, so you can do the uh, the conversion in your own currency. Um, but there's so much free time here. You know, it's really relaxing here. That's another benefit. Everything costs just a little bit. Okay, so I take my son to this playground that's really big in the mall, and it's got all these, things he can climb through, and these big tanks with all the little plastic balls he can jump into, and there's a lot of stuff to play with there. He loves it. And it costs $2 for an hour, and that's with me going in with it. Okay, um, to go through a McDonald's drive-through and buy a big meal, it costs less than $3. Well, it's about the same, I guess, in the U.S. But everything aside from gas, everything is inexpensive. The medical care. But there's some psychological things that are really nice, because for a while in the 1970s, my introduction to the outside world was I got to stay in Japan and go to an international school in Japan just for a short time in the 1970s when I was 11. Okay? And that's when I realized that people do things differently in different countries. And it works. It works for the Japanese. Whatever they're doing works. That whole society runs like a well-oiled machine. And I could just intuitively feel it when I went there at age 11, that you can't lecture these people to do things the way I want things done, because everything works. So I need to be patient, and I need to learn how to do things. I needed to learn how to talk to the woman at the little store down the street from our apartment to buy what appeared to be cream-filled donuts, but had actually been filled with a kind of a sweet bean paste that I was horrified by, but now I love. But it took time, to adjust to their way of doing things. And so that really helped me in my life. So I've never been one of those Americans that demands that people do things the way I want it done. I saw an American man sitting with his family shouting at a waiter in a little outdoor cafe in Paris. And he was shouting angrily, poking this waiter with his finger, shouting at him, telling him that he knew that English was required in their schools and that the waiter spoke English. And he demanded that the waiter speak English. And if you've ever been to Paris, you can't do that. Nobody's going to serve you. And if you get food, it's going to have terrible things in it. I don't know if they're going to put shaved glass in that guy's food or something. But you can't do that. I was horrified when I saw that. Drunk Americans, especially drunk American soldiers in Italy and Germany, I've seen that. Very belligerent, 19 and 21-year-old drunk soldiers. So Americans really behave badly. And I can see it now because at age 11, I had that experience of Japan. So here in the Philippines, I'm very patient, and I'm always trying to learn things, okay? So that's put me in some good graces with the locals here. And I have probably a better relationship with a lot of the locals than a lot of Americans do when they first come here. So that might color my description here. But at the same time, I want you to understand that it's important psychologically to you, to me, to be able to hear people in line at the supermarket speaking in English. And kids that interact with my kid that can easily speak English to him, okay, at the playground or wherever. And just to hear English on the announcements at the mall. That's so nice, and to read the billboards that you pass by, to read the political signs and bumper stickers and everything. Because, you see, I remember what Japan was like, and it still horrifies me when I go to Japan. When I was a kid, at age 11, I started to begin to learn kanji, but I've forgotten it all now. And when I go back, I love to fly through Tokyo. When I go back to the U.S., I go from Manila to Tokyo back to Houston. I always do that route, and it frustrates me that there's so much that I can't see and can't understand. You can't understand the language of the people that are walking past you. You don't know what that sign says. You don't know what that sign says. You don't know what that announcement was over the PA. You just don't know. And if you experience that all the time, it's really difficult. I'm pretty good at Spanish, and I'm a little bit good at French. So I'm okay when I go to Paris. I'm really comfortable when I go to Mexico or Cartagena or other Latin American countries. I'm really comfortable. I can understand when people are talking as they're walking past me, so I feel comfortable there. I can read the newspaper. But here in the Philippines, it's just incredibly lazy for me because everybody speaks English. Now, we recently went to Mindanao, to my mother-in-law's house in the province, okay, in the sticks, in the boondocks, okay. That was difficult. Nobody there spoke English. Or they did, actually. A lot of people spoke English. But for my kid that's playing with other kids, nobody spoke English for him. Very difficult speaking English to shopkeepers. I ordered a meal for my son and I at Jollibee at a burger restaurant, and everything was wrong. Everything was wrong. Sometimes that's on purpose, though. Okay, but they kept bringing me trays of French fries. How many French fries did I order? I sent them all back. I'm not eating that. I didn't order that. It's just there's difficulties, okay, when you get away from the main cities. But if you're in the main cities, everything's really easy. When you listen to the radio, they like to play 70s and 80s music here. And that's from my high school. That's from my high school days. It's perfect. You can listen to their CNN on the regular TV, not the cable, the regular TV, the digital TV that you buy, that you don't pay for. You buy the little box, and it translates the antenna. The radio station. Sometimes you have to search for an English-speaking radio station, but it's there. You can find it. And all the newspapers are in English, and that's really nice, I know guys that have gone to Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia, and they struggle with that because the local language is so different, and it's difficult to find people that are really fluent in English. Here, I don't have that problem. Everybody's like that. As well as, you have to remember, the Philippines was part of the U.S., and up until the 1970s, there were serious political debates going on about the Philippines becoming a state in the U.S., or probably several states, but joining the U.S. There was serious debate. Since Marcos' era, I don't think anybody's really brought that up in an official way. But there is an online petition that was circulated around 2016. So you can Google that, okay? But there's a cultural closeness the Philippines has with the U.S. You're always seeing the U.S. flag on people's T-shirts. You're always hearing English spoken by people in line next to you in the supermarket. People talking to kids. Kids can easily speak English with my kids. The newspapers, the radio, everything's in English. You can easily find cheeseburgers everywhere. They sell them as street food, cheeseburgers. It's wonderful. Pizza's everywhere. When I was in Mindanao, at this really sad little town, very few paved streets, very difficult to get around. My mother-in-law didn't have plumbing in the house. She had electricity, but no plumbing. No refrigerator, okay? No TV, no refrigerator, no Wi-Fi, no hot water, no air conditioning. We went into town to do some shopping, and there was a pizza place there. And I got pizza for all the local kids that are playing with my kid. A lot of them didn't like it. A lot of them hadn't had it before. But it was there, okay? So that's another benefit. The cultural similarities are there. The NBA, I discovered, especially San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio is only a couple hours away from where I lived for 25 years. Near and dear to my heart. And Houston Rockets, but nobody has Houston Rockets stuff. But for some reason, San Antonio Spurs are popular here. The NBA is on regular TV. Regular TV. You can watch the NBA. So there's a lot of really amazing advantages to the Philippines that really makes it a very easy transition. It's very inexpensive. The weather's beautiful all the time, unless you're from Minnesota or something. I can't believe anybody would think this weather's uncomfortable. I'm cold more than I'm hot. I think it's December now, okay? It's December 16th. I think there's been maybe 4, perhaps 5 times all year that I've told my wife, you know what, I'm going to turn on the AC. I'm uncomfortable. It's just a very few times that happens. So usually just a fan. I'm comfortable. I can take a nap. In Mindanao, it did get uncomfortable a few times. I had to take 2 showers, one in the morning and one in the afternoon before I took a nap. I'd take a shower, leave my hair wet. But here in Cavite, where I'm living, it's wonderful. Man, I just feel a sense of sadness that I'm not able to bring dozens of my friends and family here to enjoy this with me. I feel like I've won the lottery and I'm physically unable to show anybody my winnings. But, okay, on the other side, I'm going to return to the other side of the coin here. There are a lot of difficulties, okay? There's a lot of differences. The way people think is a very Asian and very ancient psychology, okay? It's very different. If you're a licensed electrician and you spent your life being an excellent awarded electrician and you come to the Philippines, you're going to be shocked because the family that you're living with is not going to consult you immediately on electrical matters because they feel obligated towards Uncle Ed. And Uncle Ed has no formal education and no formal training in electricity, but he's the guy that the family goes to for electrical things. And it's possible that your own wife and your wife's sister that's living with you will consult Uncle Ed before they'll think about talking to you, because that's just the way the family works. And there's a lot of stuff like that. And it's frustrating because you might be an expert in something and you might be able to easily point out where the mistake is and save people days of effort in trying to do something. And then suddenly they realize, oh, yeah, that's right. You know about this. Yeah, well, what do you think? And you easily solve the problem. And then everybody's like, oh, wow, that's nice. That's nice. And you're thinking, I just saved you days of effort. You would have never been able to do it if you hadn't talked to me about this. But there's very little celebration about that, okay? Because when you easily solved the problem, you might have shamed Uncle Ed a little bit, okay? So anyway, there's all kinds of cultural differences here, okay? If you marry somebody from the province, if you marry somebody from a small town far, far away in some island, all right, Bohol or Samar or something, okay, you're going to marry somebody with a psychology that, yes, you know, she's going to be very dedicated to the relationship. And as long as you're dedicated to the relationship, you're going to have a beautiful marriage. You don't have to worry about her stair-stepping, her seducing your boss and then divorcing you because she can get more material things from your boss, okay? You're not going to marry an American kind of woman if you marry a girl from a small town in the Philippines. But you are going to marry somebody that's raised in a very different way than you. If you marry somebody that's age 30 or close to it, You're going to marry somebody that's been independent and making her own decisions for 10 years. Humans are creatures of habit. So anybody that's over age 30 is going to be difficult to live with, okay? Because they're going to want to do things the way they've always done things, okay? So come here with your eyes open, okay? But as long as you prepare for the difficulties, you can really enjoy the benefits. It's a wonderful place to live. It's very easy for Americans to live. Okay, one more anecdote real quick. I know this is 20 minutes long. But I just ran into an American. He's only lived here this year. 2019 was his first time to come to the Philippines. He moved here in January this year. And I was actually talking to him maybe in August. Okay, so he'd only lived here maybe 7 months. His first time here. And while I was talking to him at Starbucks, he's always this old guy that's always on his laptop at Starbucks. So I just decided to talk to him. He's obviously American. You can spot Americans after a while. Very distinct from Australians or English or Germans, okay? So I immediately recognized him as American. Went over, started talking to him because I'd seen him 3 or 4 times before. And I've seen him a couple of times since. Okay, he was shocked that I keep going back to the U.S. And I told him, look, we still have a house there. You know, I'm going to close it. I'm going to close the house, and I'm going to eventually move our stuff here. But we need to have a house built here first. I've got antiques. I've got photographs from the 1800s. You know, I've got a lot of stuff I can't just put into storage. So anyway, I'm talking to him about this. I go back and forth. He's shaking his head, staring at me with amazement. He said, I never want to go back. I'm never going back. And that's the kind of thing, you know. You come to the Philippines and you realize, my God, the police are not after me. They're not going to pull me over for failing to signal when I change lanes. They're not going to pull me over for taking a right turn on red without a full stop. They're not going to pull me over for parking with my left wheels on the curb. I actually got a ticket for that. That's a famous story I love to tell people about the U.S. There's so much freedom here. You know, I can have my kid in the car next to me. He's 3, and he loves to be next to me when I'm driving. But of course, when you're driving in the Philippines, you're driving 15, 20 kilometers an hour. That's 12 miles an hour. You're not able to drive fast. You can't drive fast. If I go to Manila and I take the toll highway, I'm going 90, 100 kilometers an hour. I don't go to Manila with my kid. If I do, my kid's in the car seat. We do have a car seat. But if I'm driving to the mall, if I'm driving to the supermarket, if I'm driving to S&R, I'm not going to put him in a car seat. It's stupid. You're just driving a little bit better than a running speed. That's it. Terrible traffic. And I don't have to worry about the police dinging me for that. You know, I don't have to wear my seatbelt all the time either. It's nice. It's relaxing. I do wear my seatbelt. And if I'm driving anywhere far where I'm going to be driving fast, the kid's in the car seat. You know, I'm going to do that. But anyway, it's relaxing here. It's nice. The police aren't after you. You can just take it easy. You've got these armed guards in your subdivision. Nobody's going to break into your house. You know, it's okay. It's relaxing. There's a lot of benefits to living here. But you can get those benefits from Bosnia, from Ecuador, from Costa Rica. There's a lot of places you can enjoy life, okay? You need to travel, and you need to explore. But once you fall in love, you and your wife together are going to be able to make a good decision about where to go. Just be open. Be open for possibilities. That's my recommendation. Well, I hope you're doing well. It's almost Christmas. Take care. Bye-bye.